Drive to the Draft is presented by Kia, movement that inspires. And welcome on in. Julie Donaldson here with you. And of course, Logan Paulsen bringing you all the action from the 2023 NFL Combine that has officially wrapped as we now look forward to the draft. Logan, you've been watching every single prospect out there. I want your overall impressions.
I've just been so impressed with these young men. The athleticism they've all shown has just been so fantastic to get them kind of. Julie, can you hear me okay?
No,
I think it'd be easier if I just came in. Yeah, let's just come in.
Just come on over here. We'll make this a little bit easier. Look, Logan has been working full-time down for the last week at the Combine, but it's good to have you back in studio.
It's good to be back.
We needed you back here on set to talk about everything that you went over down there. Look, of course, this is where the coaches go, the scouts go. You were there as well. Yeah. So now what was your first impression of what's going to be this year's draft class?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is just getting all the NFL personnel together was fantastic because you get all this inside scoop. And you're kind of saying, is this real information? Is this fake information? Like, why are they telling me this? But in terms of the prospects, it's so cool to see them all go one right after another. See all the corners go, see them run, see them do the drills and be like, wow, this guy's more athletic than I thought, or this guy isn't running as well as I thought. And you kind of flush that into your evaluation. But really, really outstanding performances, and that was really fantastic to see.
Of course, everybody was able to kind of follow along as it goes. Now, the Combine is a pretty big deal. And if we're talking about position groups that Washington may have their eye on in the upcoming draft, offensive line is one of them. Here's how they performed. This is our Field Pass presented by FedEx, where now meets next.
All right, today's the day. Everyone's been waiting for. Offensive line is running today. They're doing the field work today. Some of the big guys aren't going to run, and that doesn't really bother me. The 40's not that important for this group. I can't wait to see them all kind of stack their field work against each other. How does DeJuan Jones look compared to Matthew Bergeron? How does Paris Johnson look? He's supposed to be the top tackle off the board. All these guys, all these names, it'd be great to compare them one after another. So this drill is going to look a little unusual, I think, to a lot of you fans at home. And basically what it's working on is it's a pass protection drill. And so you want the offensive lineman to kick, punch, and kick. And so what you're looking for is no dead feet. Do they keep their base? Do they keep their shoulders square? Now, someone who's really good at this in the NFL is Lane Johnson, for example, right? He's excellent at this. He's probably the best right tackle in football. Him and Tristan Wirfs are both good at this. Name a good pass protector, and they're excellent at this drill. So this is Steve Avili from TCU, one of the top guards. Let's see what he does here. Kick, kick, kick. And you can always tell when it's a guard, right? It's such a tight pass set. And I think they're going to call him back because his hips kind of were starting to open up there. Stay square here, Steve. Trust the technique. Nice job. Kick. That's a little bit better. Yeah. All right. Starting off with the long pull drill. And so what you want to see here is how they come around this corner. They're going to have to make kind of a hard right turn here. Oh, this is Steve Avili. Let's take a quick look at him. Around the corner. That's a nice job. Just don't get too slowed down. Sink your hips, get low, keep your feet under you. And a lot of people say, well, why is it important to gauge offensive line athleticism? All these guys were good college players. When you watch them, you say, man, that's a good college player. The problem is, how do they project? And athletes at the offensive line position project really, really well. One and go. All right, Osiris Torrance from Florida. Many people have him as the #1 rated guard. And when you watch his film, he's not overly twitchy, but what he doesn't do is he doesn't strike out. There's no no-hitters on his tape. He's very consistent. He's consistent in pass protection. He's consistent in the run game. Not a lot of knockouts, not a lot of knockdowns, but the big man, 6'5", 345 pounds, performed excellent at the Senior Bowl, performed excellent against Jalen Carter from Georgia. He'll probably be the first guard off the board because of that consistent play. And all right, Peter Skoronski, the man of the hour, many people's favorite tackle. He's a little bit smaller, 6'4", shorter arm length, but when you watch this film, he is the ultimate technician. Vertical jumped well, broad jumped well. I expect him to run a decent 40 because he is a tremendous athlete. He is a football playing Johnny, can play guard. They brought him in to play center at Northwestern, but after Slater left and got drafted to the Chargers, he became their left tackle and didn't back down from anybody. If the Commanders have an opportunity to pick him at 16, I think they run that pick in and are overjoyed.
So Washington probably needing some depth and some good members to be able to join that offensive line to help protect whomever is back there at quarterback. some names that you think Washington could potentially take at 16, and do they go for an offensive lineman there?
Yeah, I mean, I think if one of those two guys, Peter Skoronski or Paris Johnson, fall to them at 16, I think they sprint that pickup as fast as they can. I think those are excellent football players. I think those two are the best O-linemen in the class. I don't think they're going to be available. So if no one's there, possibly trade back. I think that second-tier group has some really outstanding football players in it to get you excited.
We know they talk a lot about position flex, and we've seen over the last few seasons, most certainly players have to be able to move all around on that offensive line. So are you looking at a guard, a tackler? Really, they even had 4 different centers that they had to go through last year as well, which is not ideal.
Yeah, it's not ideal, and I'm glad you brought up center, because I think this draft is kind of very center-dense, specifically in the second round. Tippmann from Wisconsin, Smith from Minnesota, Whippler from Ohio State are excellent football players that could all come in and start right now. All a little different styles, but all very good football players.
Now, you mentioned they could potentially move back. That means they could potentially also go for a DB. We know that is an area of need for depth as well for this team. So let's take a look at the defensive backs at the Combine.
Back for day 2 of on-field drill work in the very hospitable Lucas Oil Stadium. And today we're going to look at safeties and cornerbacks. Obviously, today we're going to look at the 40s and field work, checking out their hips, footwork, and I'm expecting some really fast times because this is a very athletic group. All right, this is the man now. This is the athletic freak of this group. 41-inch vertical. His tape is silky smooth. He is dynamic. He's long. He's 6'2.5", another one of those huge corners. But unlike Julius Brents, he has better production in college. He matches up well with receivers, really fluid hips. I mean, he's a guy that's fun to watch. You know, we saw him walking around the hotel the other day, and he is a big, well-put-together guy. I think he's going to run fast here. We'll see. Working that setup, getting everything right, nice and relaxed. You can tell he's got that track background with the way the head's hanging there. Getting that hips up, hold that position, get out of there. A little bit better start for him. Let's see what he says. He's obviously going to finish that race. And then he gets that 4.38. So that's exactly what he needed to do. A guy that's just checking boxes with the measurements, with the jumps, with the run. That's exactly what this is about, is just confirming what you see on tape, and he's doing that with every event today. All right, now here, kind of the man of the hour for Washington, Joey Porter Jr. Big guy. Again, I know I've said that a lot. 6'2", 205, long arms. Kind of reminds me of like a praying mantis, right? These long kind of strikes on this receiver. More of a press man corner, so not a perfect scheme fit, but you see him getting mocked to Washington a lot, and it's because he is a tall, physical, very unique specimen. And like all the top corners who have come before, the tall corners who have run before, how's he going to run? Let's see how this starts. That looks pretty smooth. I don't know. Let's see what this time is. 4.46, which is great for him. For a man of that size, that's outstanding. And I think that kind of time is just going to secure his spot as one of those top 3 guys. He did an excellent job with that, and good for him. And he's a guy that could very well be guarding Jahan Dotson in practice again like he did in college at Penn State. Now we're to the drill portion of the DBs, or defensive backs, corners, and safeties. And this drill is really interesting, I think. It's one of the best drills, to my mind, to kind of see how a defensive back's hips are and then how they adjust to the football in the air. One of the things that you see with the defensive back specifically is they don't oftentimes track the football very well. This is Brian Branch, and you see the fluidity. You see how easy he adjusts to the football. Again, you wonder about the top end speed, especially after the 40. And I know we just ran the 40. There's this immediacy bias, but with him, that's going to be a big question for the rest of the combine. People are going to go back and watch his film, because when you're taking a guy at that high, think about what it did to Kyle Hamilton last year, how it pushed him down just because he didn't run fast. So keep that in mind as we get into the mock draft season. So think about this drill. Imagine you're covering Tyreek Hill, right? The moment he is even with you, you have to be so good with your transition and your hips to keep up with him, whether you're in zone, whether you're in man. And when you see a little bit of a hesitation, a little bit of a hiccup here, that's when a good receiver is able to get great separation. And I think the other thing to point out here is when they're running to the post here, they're not looking for the ball. They're looking at the coach who's standing here on the 35-yard line, because you want to make sure they can transition from the receiver to the football in the air, because how many times have you heard, this guy can't track the football well in the air? This is a nice drill to kind of demo. They're going to call ball, look up, track the football. Nice job. Make that play. I mean, his frame is something that makes him so special. It's his frame, and it's also his ability to just turn and flip his hips open. And, there's a guy like Kylie Ringo, for example, who ran a faster 40, but is never in phase, always a little late. And Christian Gonzalez is like the opposite of that.
Time to go inside the matchup presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the Washington Commanders. So if you look at the NFC East, there's a lot of receivers Washington has to go up and defend against. And we've heard head coach Ron Rivera before say you have to look at what's going to be your main competition and make sure you can counteract against that. Defensive back secondary is certainly a position Washington would like to add extra depth at. Names that stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think they all did. I mean, I know that's kind of a generic thing, but that whole group tested really well. Obviously, Christian Gonzalez is the guy that stole the show. And then you kind of go down the list. You say Joey Porter Jr. did an excellent job for a man of his size. Sam Smith from Carolina. Forbes from Mississippi State. Got to throw that in for Fred Smoot. Like, they all just tested really well, and you're going to get a good value player kind of in the first 2 rounds. I think there's probably 12 guys that you feel really confident with.
Given that we know the receivers they do have to go up against on a week-in, week-out basis, certain skill sets you look for when deciding?
Absolutely. I think there's a ton of really big, tall, physical guys in this draft, and I think that would be perfect for this team and the receivers they have to match up against. Well,
you do have Benjamin St. Juice, Kendall Fuller, and Danny Johnson. Would be nice to add some depth to that position as well. Now, still to come, this draft will have offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy taking over the first time in Washington. Could the Commanders draft a few new weapons for him to work with? We're going to preview the offensive skill players when we come back. And you can become a 2023 Commanders season ticket member today. Claim your place at FedEx Field for the season, starting at just $50. Commanders season tickets includes more benefits than ever before. New year-round events tailored to you, 50% off game day concessions, and more. Get the details and place your season ticket deposit at commanders.com/season ticket. Drive to the Draft is presented by Kia, movement that inspires.
Touchdown for the rookie! Corner of the end zone for Dotson! Touchdown! Open Dotson at the 20, turns the corner 15, spins at the 10! He's going in! Touchdown! Unbelievable catch and run by Jahan Dotson!
Now, the Commanders had success last season when they moved back to get Jahan Dotson at 16 overall. And boy, what a performance he had in his rookie year, leading the team in touchdowns with 7 as well. Just an outstanding rookie season.
Outstanding performance and, quite frankly, outstanding draft process. I mean, they were up there in the middle rounds. They traded back. They got an excellent football player. They added value later in the draft. So not only did they get a good football player, but good draft process. And I can't wait to see what a full year looks like from him, because obviously he had negotiated with that hamstring injury. But really looking forward to watching this upcoming season.
It really kind of showed a maturity beyond his years
and
what you can do when you put him on the field along with Terry McLaurin. Of course, under Eric Bieniemy, we're excited to see what that offense looks like as well. Now, will they add another offensive skill position in this year's draft? Maybe. And if they do, well, here's how that class panned out.
Today we got receivers, quarterbacks, tight ends, and we are in for a treat. Will Levis, Stroud, Richardson are all throwing, and we get to watch throw for throw, back to back, see how they look against each other, and I can't wait to see that. We also get to see Francis Smith and Jigba, the receiver from Ohio State who hasn't played football since week 2 of the season, run, and we get to see Quentin Johnson, the freak from TCU. Can't wait to watch these guys today. All right, Anthony Richardson is up, and right now he is absolutely lighting the combine on fire. 40-inch vertical jump, 10.9 broad jump, both records for the quarterback position. Largest hand size for a quarterback, it's like 10, like whatever it is, something crazy. He has just been absolutely every single metric, 6'4" and a quarter, 245 pounds. He has absolutely just blown the measurement portion away. I read somewhere he's going to run a 4.4, and he is scooting right now. Jeez, that is some explosive power in the legs. And he is a guy very, very talented. Very, very talented. Can throw the ball a mile, is fast. Anthony Richardson's up throwing the ball, and I mean, that ball is out there. That is a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, that's 60 yards almost in the air that he's throwing. Will Levis, let's see it, Will. Come on, you're supposed to have this big arm. Put it out there, come on. Let's let it rip. He's got a little smile on the camera there. Arm punt this thing. That's a nice ball. That's a nice ball. That looked effortless. Get to the top of your drop. No hitches, no baseball throw. Put that sucker out there. That was nice. That's what you expect to see from him. The ball got away from Tanner McKee there a little bit. Let's see if he can get it back on track. Big arm again. He's shown it off. Excellent job on the outs earlier. Let's see what this looks like here. Put that ball out there. That's a nice throw. That's a nice catch. That is a good connection. Fantastic job by him there. All right, now it's time to recap the day. Anthony Richardson, physical freak, kind of checked all those boxes we thought he was going to check. CJ Stroud looked excellent, so polished. But a guy whose stock is rising, Tanner McKee from Stanford, did an excellent job. You got to see the strong arm, the great time, a great understanding of route concepts. Not in that same group as that first group, but maybe second, third round. Receivers, A.T. Perry did an excellent job adjusting to the football, ran a great 40 time, helped his stock a ton. There are not a lot of big receivers in this class. He's one of them. And then Washington, the big tight end from Georgia, just did nothing but help himself today. You saw the athleticism. You saw the 40 time. You saw him manhandle the sled. All those guys did a great job. Keep an eye out for him when the draft rolls around.
Now, skill position is not an area that's of glaring need, but should they potentially go and say, you know what, maybe there's a player that's just too good to pass up on when they're selecting to pick a name that would fit that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it depends on when they're picking, obviously, but a guy that really stuck out to me is A.T. Perry from Wake Forest. He did an excellent job. He's a bigger body guy, 6'4", 220 pounds, just caught the football in such a natural, easy way, and that's unusual for a man of his size. So not going to be in those first 3 rounds probably, but a guy maybe later you say, oh, can't believe he's still here, let's grab that pick.
And of course, quarterback is in this group as well. Now we have Sam Howell. By all means, he gets that chance to be the starter, but could they make a move here?
I think they could. I mean, if there's someone that they really, really like, that they just have such a high evaluation on, I think you make that pick because you're not married to Sam Howell. If you think someone's a generational talent, you definitely have to go with it.
Well, their chances to impress the scouts and the coaches, that's over at the Combine. We are looking forward to who impressed most when we come back, according to right here, this guy, Logan Paulsen. So make sure you keep it right here. More Command Center returns. Plus, get ahead of the game and secure your luxury suite for the 2023 season. Experience the excitement of a Commanders game from the climate-controlled comfort and privacy of a luxury suite. Enjoy gourmet catering options, VIP parking, and more for you and your guests. Learn more and place your suite deposit for the 2023 season at commanders.com/suites. Drive to the Draft is presented by Kia, movement that inspires. When talking about the NFL Combine, the event that everyone always has circled on their schedule is the 40-yard dash, and this year's prospects did not disappoint. Michigan cornerback DJ Turner led all prospects with a 4.26 40 time, which is the 4th fastest time recorded in Combine history. And for more on the guys who stood out at this year's Combine and how they might fit in with Washington, we go back to Indy.
Just finishing up with the Combine here in Indianapolis. There were so many fantastic moments, so many wonderful athletes. I'm going to give you 5 guys that I think that can help the Commanders out. One of my favorite players in this draft is Sidney Brown. He is a jacked up, rocked up dude. He's 5'10", 215 pounds. He looks like a buff Bob Sanders. He plays like a buff Bob Sanders. He's got knockback when he hits you. He hits tackles. He hits guards. He plays linebacker. He plays safety. He plays in the post. He does it all. He's a heck of a football player, and he came to the Combines, and the explosive measurements backed it up. Not only that, but the leadership stuff's there too. At the podium, he looked like he was running for president. At the Senior Bowl, outstanding leadership. You could hear him talking and communicating all over the field. He's a heck of a football player, would fill that Buffalo nickel roll out nicely for this team. He's just going to be gone when the Commanders want to pick him. Anton Harrison was that man today. You know, his film was outstanding. He's an excellent pass protector. A little bit has difficulty with his kind of stoutness in the run game, but he ran an excellent 40. The field drill showed his athleticism. Really like what I saw from him today. It's a guy that I think is slowly moving into that first round. Still, I think a little bit too high for Washington to pick him at 16, but if they were to trade back, or if something happens, I think that would be excellent spot for him. Really nice value add, a guy that can play left and right tackle. Yaya Diaby did an excellent job at the Combine today. You know, when I watched this film, I was a little bit disappointed, kind of lackluster playing that 4-eye over the tackle. Not a great playmaking position. You wondered about his upscale athleticism, and he came out and said, I am a tremendous athlete. 4.56 in the 40-yard dash. All of the drill worked. He looked powerful, physical, smacking the bags, turning the corner, bending the shoulder. I think he helped himself tremendously, and a guy that I think adds tremendous inside-outside pass rush value, especially as a power rusher, and a guy that'll be available in that 3rd, 4th, 5th round, I believe. So keep an eye out for Yaya Diaby. A name that you should know if you don't know already is Christian Gonzalez, the 7th fastest 40 for a DB ever, 4.38, 41-inch vertical, 11.1 broad jump. All of those are outstanding numbers, and the tape backs it up. He's never out of phase with receivers, and not to mention, he's 6'2", he's 205 pounds. He is the freak of freaks at the defensive back position. The drill work looked excellent. The film looks excellent. He should be a top 10 pick, but if he slides to Washington, run that card up there as fast as you can. You're going to get a heck of a football player. Keaton Mitchell from East Carolina University did an excellent job today. Everyone knew he was explosive, and with an explosive kind of undersized running back, you need to come out and run fast, and he ran exceptionally fast. 4.38 in the 40-yard dash, the highest GPS speed values of any running back in college football last year, and it showed up. He caught the football well. Good mover in the short area. I think because this running back class is so deep, here's an explosive player that Washington could target in the later rounds and still have tremendous value. Keep an eye out for him. With so many exciting prospects, I can't wait to see what the Commanders are going to do in this draft and finish the puzzle for this roster.
Time for our keys to winning, presented by the Maryland Lottery. Play fast, win fast with fast play games from the Maryland Lottery. So when it comes to key traits that you're looking for, that will be allow these prospects to be winning on draft day, and especially for Washington. You just went over a whole bunch of guys that we could kind of get excited for, but who stands out the most that you think is most likely a selection?
Yeah, so I think the guy that sticks out of that group is Anton Harrison. He's the guy, the tackle from Oklahoma. He's got really great athletic upside. He's an excellent pass protector. Got to grow up as a run blocker, but I think when you look at him, you say, man, he could be that kind of elite pass protecting offensive lineman. And as we know, this team struggled in that area last year. I think he brings a lot of value.
Good big body as well, 6'4", 315 pounds.
Right.
As we always say, you kind of want those guys to be big and beefy up front to protect. Would they be ready to go right away?
I think he's a guy that needs a little bit of development, but again, he's in that same group as Darnell Wright, DeJuan Jones, those kind of big offensive linemen that you say, but he's got the best pass protection upside. So I think that's what you bet on with those O-linemen.
Glad to have you back in studio. We know it was a long week, but a lot of great coverage. Make sure you check it all out on our website and YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.